Hey guys, welcome back to alliseeisW. In this channel, the goal is to gain on positive proceeds and lead with an altruistic mindset. In today's video, I'll be covering latest updates on Opendoor Technologies, ticker Open. We'll be covering latest updates as well as going through technical analysis, price predictions, what my key takeaway is for the upcoming price following next week, and heading into the rest of 2025, we'll go through all those details as well as playing an epic video clip from Eric Jackson as to why he believes Opendoor has the potential to go up to $82, in fact, even triple digits. Now, if you're new to this channel, if you're part of the Opendoor army, I would really appreciate you hitting the like, subscribing for more related content. Let's begin, guys. Let's first start off with the post from Eric Jackson. He's saying, how come you're not bullish on Open? The guy who wrote the biz plan is now chair. The other key co-founder just rejoined the board. The new CEO left, being next in line at a 188 billion Shopify to run a $3 billion Open. Nobody does this unless they see it scaling way bigger. Kaz, Keith, and Eric Wu, a sharper, more action-driven trio than Carp, Palantir. Kaz cut Shop's G&A's percent from of revenue from 14% to 4%. Plan shrink headcount 1,400 to 200. Replace with AI. Plan explode buyers and sellers on the platform. You're not bullish enough. The road to 82, 200, 500 is clear as day. Eric Jackson also posts, let me repeat, the guy next in line to run 188 billion Shopify said running a 3 billion Open now is more attractive, presumably because it's eventually going to be bigger than Shopify. Amit posted about Palantir yesterday, back to $170. Has anyone heard from Citron? Kind of wild. They said it shorted going to 40, then just disappeared. LOL. And we have EJ posting, had anyone heard from Amit investing? Open is up over 200% since you said you will give Eric Jackson hard questions. Con Lee posts, Amit investing said he is a fundamental guy, so he can't touch Open as it doesn't align with his investment strategy. He will probably buy at $82 when Open fundamentals finally make sense. Anthony Pomp says, it is shocking how many mainstream media outlets can't understand that Open is not a meme stock. It is a company poised to be turned around by addressing one of the largest problems in society, buying and selling a home. If you solve one of the biggest problems, history tells us you are rewarded with one of the biggest companies. Doesn't mean it will be easy. There will be plenty of volatility along the way, but the company has a chance to execute one of the greatest corporate comeback stories in history. Let's see what happens. Let's go. Stevie O, give him a follow as well. He's the Open Army General, I call him. He's posted Carvana $360 to $4, $360 in under 4 years. So just looking at this trend, I mean, back in 2021, 360 during COVID time, it dipped all the way down to $4 and it just climbed from $4 all the way to 360 in a matter of 2 years. So where Opendoor is $9 to $360 in 2 years, I think that's very well achievable. Carp God posts AI first company incoming, buckle up. Open Door board chair Rabois says company is bloated, needs to cut 85% of workforce. So what does this mean as we hear about how the company is going to be leveraging, AI initiative? This means, you can cut down on the operational expense. And I think this is really going to be cutting down the workforce. Yes, that sucks for the employees who will get impacted. However, when you're trying to scale up AI as your basis for revolutionizing your company and to minimize costs, I think this is the way to go. And Open is really gonna make the whole experience for home buyers and sellers much different. I think it's like, very difficult experience when you're buying or selling a home, which is what people are so worried about. But by having a convenient user experience by buying a home, selling a home easier through AI. I think that's going to change the game. It's going to solve that problem, like what Anthony said. Heisenberg, posted, which we should, have that contrarian perspective as well. Let's take a look what he's saying. I originally retweeted Eric's open tweet at 95 cents. I then said I thought $82 is a bit out of orbit and placed a $8 to $10 price target when it was at $2.50. That was achieved yesterday and today. Still unsure about $82, but hey, I've been wrong before. Now I'm saying we should go through a small cooling off period to $8. Got close today to as low as $6.78-ish, 38% fib retracement. Not saying that it has to hit 678, but just giving a wide range of expectations for an extremely high beta name is normal. Once we finish cooling off, I can see the name going to the next, leg higher towards at least $13, if not $15 to test next resistance. Yes, I use quotes because the price from action from 2021, 2020 is kind of expired as a story and co-action today differs so much to then. Anyways, Bull's first agenda is to break today's high of 1038, which ironically is the IPO price ish today. And we get Valhalla. Good luck, Open Army. So very interesting perspective that he's sharing. Shaw posts $13 calls for open. Shorts still haven't cobbled, and we have a rate cut next week. So come Wednesday, Fed's going to cut rates, whether it's going to be, a quarter or 50% cut. Last chance below $10. So just looking at the call options, we see just huge volume being purchased. I mean, anything below $10. And we'll go through the technicals as well before we play a video clip of Eric Jackson. So I have, just technical indicators on I'd like to just share with you, but let's take a look at what we're seeing. So, I have, just two technical indicators I'd like to go through. But one of the key things I'd like to point out is, just looking at the volume of smart money, I would call that the whales. The whales would be represented in red. What are we seeing? We're seeing a gradual increase with smart money buying into Opendoor. They like the use case since beginning of August. It's been ramping up significantly, and that's really driving up the price. Yellow, you got the day traders. Green, that's more of just like the retail. So most of the money's coming through with like financial institutions. We heard with Goldman Sachs. I wouldn't be surprised other financial institutions buying. They like the use case. Anthony Pomp's buying. Eric Jackson has tons of Opendoor stock as well. Rob Snyder joining the fund, and eventually, is it going to be Drake? We'll see. But overall, just based on technicals, this is a good sign. I mean, as we're looking at it on the 4 hour candle, one of the things I'd like to point out is since that run up top to like $7 back in early September last, like I would say last week, it had a cool off period. And then it went down to like 572 until we got that announcement with, the angel investors coming back, new CEO leadership this week. We had it shoot up 80% going from 572 all the way to like 1080. What had happened since on Friday, we had a slight pullback, and that's what's expected. We'll go through the technicals as well. From a fundamental standpoint, long term, this company is going to be going to, I'd say, 82 is definitely very well achievable. I mean, you look at the way that the compensation is structured for the new CEO, he's only going to be taking a dollar, every year home from Opendoor as a paycheck. But overall, if he's able to build the company up to like $32, $82, that's where he's going to be paid back through compensation with shares. I mean, the fact that he has experience from Shopify, he's working with a big, platform that leverages AI. I mean, with Opendoor, this is really going to be solving a big problem here. So there's no question that, Opendoor, whether it's going to be a big company or not, I definitely see that happening just with, the backing from Open Army, financial institutions, big time whales. So the fundamentals are there from a near-term perspective, just based on technicals. I think that what we're going to be expected to see is a cool off period, some consolidation. You had it run up 80%. to protect the profits, I think that there's going to be, people who are looking at it through the lens of, just making sure that they, protect their profits. I think we're going to see some consolidation period in the next, week, even though we have rate cuts, coming on Wednesday, all of that's going to be priced in. So, Monday, Tuesday, things are going to be pumping, but I think that, as we head into Thursday, Friday, things might go, the opposite direction. Not to say that open's not going to be going up. It's just a cool off period, like next week. So I think, somewhere we're going to have, the price where it currently is above $9. It might, hover into that $7 range. So, it's going to consolidate, build the base at around, $7, and then over time it's going to, pick back up. But I do think that because we had the red and the blue purple color, we're gonna start seeing a yellow and light teal color, which represents a cool off on the near term based on technical analysis. Let's take a look at the overall technical analysis of Opendoor on the hourly candle. So what are we seeing? We saw a huge volume surge on Thursday, which really pushed the price up from 80% from 574 all the way to 1080. It broke into double digits. And then volume started cooling off yesterday. RSI was in the overbought situation. So what did we see, on the 22nd of August? RSI was 87 overbought. It cooled off to, 39. That's expected. Then, September 5th, 83 RSI overbought. Then it cooled off to 38. That's expected. And just, with yesterday, overbought 85. RSI definitely has to cool off. So I'm expecting that RSI is going to get somewhere around that, 40, 30 range. So somewhere, in the next week, we're going to see some consolidation, where Opendoor is going to be building at a base, I think somewhere around $7. And then, with respect to time, we're going to start climbing back to, this range that I have set of like 14 to $17 before we start gapping up to $20. So I think that's what's going to be happening next week. But as we scale out through the rest of, September, we can definitely climb up to double digits and start, reaching up to like 16, 14 range. But as we head into Q4, I definitely see that we have potential to get to, 20 to $40. That's my overall perspective. But as we scale out, in the next 2 years, 82 to $300 is definitely well achievable.
It's a company I've liked for a while. I've expected a Carvana like turnaround for a while. It didn't come. It took a lot longer than I expected. I was wrong for a long time, or early, whatever you want to say. And then, but I could see signs that this thing, could make an epic comeback. Starting in a couple of weeks, they're going to report their latest earnings. They've already hinted that it's going to be their first EBITDA positive quarter in 3 years. And I think it's going to be the first of many to come. And so it's a fundamental turnaround story. This is not GameStop. This is not AMC. This is not BlackBerry, where for whatever reason, people got fixated on some weird company. This is a valuable company that's doing a service now nationally in the US, where allowing you to sell your home online if you want, where there basically are no competitors left nationally. And with the changing macro environment, probably we're going to see rate cuts in the months to come. That's going to mean huge volumes for Opendoor on a much leaner and meaner platform. And that's what could conceivably take this from a sub $1 stock to an $82 stock by 20.
So there you heard it from Eric Jackson. We can see Open Doors just reaching to $82 in the next coming years. So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, I would really appreciate hitting the like, subscribing to All I See Is W. Thanks, guys.